So between the two of us, we wanted to talk to you about application visibility and control. You know, in the recent BYOD trend, we see a lot of people bringing in multiple devices. Like everybody carries at least on average 2 devices, if not more. And then all of these devices are running multiple kind of applications. Some of them which you want in your corporate network, some of them which you don't want in your corporate network, and some of them which you're like, okay, fine, if they're running, that's fine. So, you know, we wanted to talk about in a network architecture, which includes access, distribution, core. How do you plan for these? How do you control these? And more importantly, how do you troubleshoot applications like these? And specifically,
and keep
video.
it simple.
And keep it simple.
I mean, it actually even, we tailored these obviously in a specific set. It's again the total cost of ownership and the amount of operational expenses that you spend training someone to just data mine and try and track all these crazy flows. And of course, the network is growing way beyond the IT department. And so how do I keep up with that? And you know, there's only 24 hours in a day, and you know, only have 2 eyes and those things. So that's really what this gets into.
Right. So if you take a look, I mean, when you're looking at application, and let's say you're looking at video, and you say, well, this network has been running great. I've been doing data and voice, and it's been doing great for me. Now I want to deploy video. Video has its own set of challenges. It's, you know, it's sensitive to drop. It's, you want high quality, high definition resolution, end to end, and a lot of customers are recognizing that video is good for my business. It's helps me save travel costs, increases collaboration, and all that stuff. But if as a network administrator, how do I know my network is ready for video? And how do I know how much video can my network handle? Right? It's an important question. How do I, once I have that, you know, I can only do QoS on my network if I know what's running on my network, right? So we have certain tools that we want to talk about that, and that's what we mean by plan. The next part is control. Now, if in the switch I figure out, and we've been talking about SGT, we talk about smart ops, if I figure out that this is a telepresence system, what do I do with it? How does it influence my QoS policies? Okay, how do I, how do I take that and visualize it on, let's say, a network collector, right? And then troubleshooting. I think all of us love troubleshooting, but then we also want to be more effective in troubleshooting. Like we want to be able to go to a source of what's wrong and fix it right there and then.
I call it the 1% rule, right? Nobody cares about the 99% that's working. How quickly can I drill down to that 1%? It's fine. I mean, if anybody's been in that sort of situation, when you literally have tens of thousands of devices, how do I zero in on that one flow that's malfunctioning? And you know, of course, that's the vice president's telepresence call. And you know, if I don't fix this as soon as possible, then I could get fired, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So, you know, there are a lot of third-party probes and a lot of third-party solutions out there that can help you determine whether your network is ready for video and what kind of video. And we took a look into that. Now, there's this IPSLA feature. All of you know about IPSLA. It's been shipping for ages and ages, right? And over the period of time, we started out with basic ICMP pings. We then went on and added HTTP, FTP, all these different applications. What we have now done is we've added video operation on top of it. So the switch will generate a synthetic traffic stream, and you could have a telepresence, IPTV, surveillance, or even your custom profile. So if you have a custom stream that you've captured, you can put it onto the switch and send it from one point to the other and gather statistics like, you know, what is the latency? Did anything get dropped? Right? You can, just like a normal IPSLA, you can keep it running and gather statistics over a period of, let's say, 2 months to figure out, okay, now I have enough data that tells me whether my network is ready or not for video deployments or application deployments. Right?
So specifically the RTP header.
Exactly.
Right. Jitter, latency.
Yeah, just, you know, as an example, you can see over here, we're testing for telepresence across the network, and we figure out, you know, these are data points that will help me determine whether I can deploy telepresence over here or over here. Right? It comes out with all these kind of latency, the packet loss, jitter, all those good details.
That's an instantaneous or a long running? that a
So this
snapshot
is-
or is that
this
a
is just
trend?
this is
I
a
mean, the
snap-
statistics is a snapshot,
Yeah.
but it's long running. So you can take it
You could
today,
run
you
it-
can take it tomorrow, a
you
week
could
from
run
now,
it like over a
create kind of a
30-minute.
statistical analysis over a period of time.
Yeah. you
Okay,
could-
but you don't do that aggregation or statistical analysis. You
On the
feed that
switch.
back
right
via
to
the CLI.
you
Both
could
GUI or CLI.
GUI or CLI. So we have third-party collectors. We also have the Cisco Prime as well.
Collaboration
can-
manager.
Collaboration
The
Manager
response is
Prime.
stored in a MIB, correct?
Exactly. It's SNMP based. It's the same thing as IPSLA that we've been shipping in 2 years. It's just that we've added the video application on top of it.
And I mean, as far as secret sauce and really, the differentiator, it's actually pretty easy to do FTP and HTTP. Whereas this, because of the nature of video, it's very bursty, very high bandwidth. So, that's where the value comes in, being able to keep up with this sort of level of traffic.
Okay, let's talk about troubleshooting. So you have a telepresence session. And if you take a look at your typical network, you got access layer, distribution, probably have a WAN edge other side, distribution, access. So at a minimum, you're looking at 6 to 7 devices. Okay, and let's say you have this telepresence call, which is going fine, right? We'll switch here. It's going fine, and then all of a sudden it starts degrading. Okay, maybe it goes down, maybe it's just the user experience is just not good enough. Now, for all the CCIs out there, this is a really fun challenge because you get to go into each and every device that this call is going through, each and every interface, look at statistics, and gather all that kind of cool data. But by that time, if this was a call happening between your CIO and CFO, your job is probably, or at least your bonus is definitely impacted. But, we have this tool called Media Trace. What that does, and this is again, it's graphical user interface based. You can also do it through the CLI, right? But what that does is it traces the exact path that this call is taking. Okay. Once it does that, it gives you a hop by hop statistic. So what you can see over here is it tells me that this particular host in this reachability address has some packet drops.
I mean,
Okay.
what it does when it spits it out, it literally shows you hop by hop by hop, and then very
Yeah.
quickly you say, oh, it's hop number 4, this router, this IP, these interfaces, and here's what he's experiencing. And there's actually a whole bunch more. This is a sort of a
This is just a
shortened view, but it also includes the jitter and the latency. So if you've set some kind of criteria that this can never exceed, whatever, 5 microseconds, you can actually have an alarm on that.
Yeah. And the real output is pages and pages long, and this feature is there on the 3K, 4K, 6K, ASR, ISR.
It's an
all-
iOS.
So are you guys pulling that back to influence path selection?
Yes. And are you going to cover metadata?
Yeah,
I think so. Okay, yeah.
that's the next slide.
The next thing is metadata, right? And how it influences quality of service and
Yeah.
even policy-based routing.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't overcome with quality of service, so I want it to just take a different path.
Yeah.
Those kind of things, yes.
So how's it determine these metrics?
The RTP header. And
The
it really
RTP
is, I mean,
header,
it's like a trace route, right? It's taking all the things.
Yeah, it's basically, you can think of it trace route plus a QoS policy plus flexible net flow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The flexible net flow gives me each flow. QoS policy allows me to use that, that QoS implementation on a particular interface to figure out this is what I'm interested in and classify it. And then trace route is basically what I'm tracing end to end.
So is there enough information in the RTP header to get all of this information?
Well, it's
Yeah,
actually multiple things, and that's, I think that's what you were making a point. The jitter, latency, and these things are part of the RTP header, but it's actually catching much more than that because that's how we get like the ingress and egress interface. It can actually collect like CPU utilization, memory utilization, which you're getting from interacting with each hop. So it's combining all those different characteristics. Because maybe it's just they're getting a denial of service attack. Everything else is fine, but the CPU is really high.
And is this fed back in the other direction with RTSP or anything like that? The UDP flow goes
There's a
together?
session built between A and B, right? And then the information is coming back via NetFlow. It's called the initiator and the responder, and each one of these is a responder, and then he's replying back to the initiator.
Get this
But-
vision of this world of your CEO gets this message. Your provider is dropping this call.
Yes.
Your own network.
Yes. You can, and
Yeah,
actually that's a very good
superimpose
point.
that into the video.
Upstream provider issues.
There's multiple levels, obviously, right? Everything's in a phase. It depends on where we are. And these might not, heaven forbid, even be Cisco boxes, right? So sort of like the CTS thing.
Yeah.
But you can get at least the basic hop information. So you can see that, oh, okay, this is where I hit Comcast. So it'll be, just a gray box showing me his IP and the hop number. But I can say between this section is where I'm losing packets. Every other device is clean. Call Comcast.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Right. So overall, I mean, significant time savings, and that already talked about. But if you really want to do this, we have a GUI, Collab Manager, Cisco Prime. It actually shows you the exact path that it takes on a graphical user interface.
It's a little difficult to see.
It'll,
but
yeah, it's a little small, but what it does, it'll show you the exact path of different devices, routers, switches, all that stuff, and then it'll show you the performance statistics, right? So which device is causing on which interface, what kind of latency. So then you can just go directly into that device, go into that interface, figure out what's wrong, and fix it.
And some of the new versions of Collab Manager will actually, it's sort of what you were just saying. Once I identify, oh, it's this box on this interface, I can actually push a config right off of
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I'm not suggesting that everyone go out and actually install like RSVP or anything, but there's a wide diverse tool set, optimize edge routing, and different ways that
That's right.
you can push it down in routing protocols to influence path selection.
Yeah.
So, are you actually, are we changing path with this? Or are we just?
It's an
identifying
option
it and
available to
drill
you.
in immediately? And if we are changing it, how are we changing it? And then
So that's actually the next part
okay.
with
On the
metadata.
other, it feels like IPS SLA. Is that
That's more
under
just
the-
showing you,
That's-
you're simulating traffic. I
that's
don't want
just
to
you're
buy a
sending a
telepresence
synthetic
session just to
traffic
prove telepresence
and getting
works.
statistic back. This is more like troubleshooting and providing information, what's wrong and where is it wrong, right? And then the third piece of it is the visibility. So, I've connected these devices, but what are these devices, right? What are the applications that this device is using, okay? So if in case of a Cisco device like telepresence, or even a soft client running on a PC like Jabber, it's pretty easy to determine. All you do is snoop the SIP header, and you figure out what's happening, right? And that's what the switch does exactly to get these. So we snoop SIP, H323, and RTP, and these are basically the three main voice and video protocols. And within those headers, we get the information of the application, the device, which we use in our metadata, which basically.
So are you actually passing through, like when I'm using my Mobi client over my wireless and with the 160 other people on my floor or my office, that and it says quality's gone to low? Are you actually passing that back up in the
Well, what it's
In-
doing is it's
in the
looking
network.
at them individually, right,
Yeah.
on a per flow basis.
So-
and then you
so
can
on the
add
direct-
additional QoS priorities to say your call over the others.
Well, on the kind of flip side, determine how many organizations? Yeah, I'm probably the biggest pain in the rear user on this. Why the f is my business video not working? And then my CTS 3000 just work right. Do it over a macro carrier to get problems, but be able to like in the ticketing system show that your high priority users they're having degradation of quality. Is that where this is going?
Absolutely. I mean,
That's
even
where
on
it's
the
going.
on the last part, you'd be showing it, per flow that A is talking to B, and of course you've got 1,000 other flows. That's what I was saying about the 1% rule. Nobody cares about everyone else that's being quiet, but you've
Yeah.
got that one guy, and then you'll have exactly his flow characteristics. And if you show like you can have packet drops here, but not packet drops down here, and maybe because on that one hop you forgot to do QoS, but you turn it on, and then suddenly he's getting the priority and not these guys down here.
Plus the QoS policies also change now, because now you're aware of the application ID.
Yeah,
Or the
and
app
that's
ID.
the
So your typical QoS,
intelligence of
you
the
do
edge.
match DSCP markings or whatever. Now you do match application telepresence, and you say put it in priority queue, or dedicate 10% of bandwidth.
You're not looking at any payload though, right? You're just going off headers.
Yeah, just
headers.
just the
So
control
anything
headers.
outside of well-knowns.
Yeah.
Sure.
So was, I guess, and this may be my own ignorance, but secure RTP, can you deal with that, or is that part of the header encrypted?
Secure RTP, the header is encrypted, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So anything which is encrypted, like for example Microsoft Link 2010,
Yeah.
those things are not there today. We're taking a look at different signature schemes to figure out how we can identify those.
Okay.
But I mean, if you take a look, this is not just Cisco devices. If you take a look, the access camera, surveillance cameras, third-party applications, we can also take a look and say, okay, this is a surveillance application, this is an access camera. So we have that visibility, and then in your QoS, you can take that and prioritize it.
I was talking with Panasonic even just
Yeah.
exactly this morning, and that was one of their key requirements because they obviously have their own video equipment. And I brought up media services proxy. So one piece, and this is Movi, all WebEx, telepresence, all these have the direct API to speak to the switch and say I'm a telepresence or I'm a WebEx client. But then with the proxy, you can still set up your own custom profiles and say, look, this is a Panasonic surveillance camera. It has this QoS properties and so on. And we'll just honor
So
that.
like the Cisco WebEx, so that's like the hardware, but on the software side of things, Cisco WebEx has the capability to send this MSI information to the switch and say, this is Cisco WebEx, this is what I'm doing, and then you can take that and put it in your QoS policy. Third-party devices like cameras, they're not capable. So for that, we have the proxy service which does the snooping and takes that information, puts it in the table. Now, once you have that table, that metadata is shared across the network. So all the devices in the network know that this is a flow of traffic that is happening. So your QoS policy, which you put on one device, match application telepresence, put it in priority queue, you can take the same QoS policy and stick it everywhere else. So you got uniform QoS policies all across, single policy, and then you're sharing that information or that intelligence throughout the network.
Yep.
So all this is assuming there's this well-defined QoS policy on the network and that people are staffed up enough to roll out.
Well, is that like
It's
a-
an excellent point.
Cost policy.
Right.
Is
How do I even know what a telepresence needs? Yeah. So actually, it's both. You can sit there and you can change it to something you want, or you can actually say that because that gets into setting these profiles, right? And then you say, once I see a telepresence device, here's the profile I use, and we have these pre-canned.
So it's extension like auto QoS? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. In fact, we didn't when we did the smart operations. Auto QoS was just kind of one aspect of that, but with the auto smart ports we talked about, but auto QoS is a subset of auto smart ports, and then that all gets wrapped up in here.
Yep. So this is something that's just shipped in March on the platforms,
The metadata piece of it.
metadata piece of it.
So you have a GUI for passing this information. Did you have any APIs or integration? I bring back up that ticketing system and alerting. And, are you passing this information out of your box?
So today metadata is
It's inside the box.
It's inside the box.
Yeah.
But you can,
But-
I actually can sort of kind of answer that. I mean, because we can see all this on the CLI.
Yeah.
And then, are you guys familiar with Embedded Event Manager?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can just write an EM script and say, I know it's another step. I'm just saying it's not that you cannot do this.
I'm thinking of the end users, the solar ones of the world, right?
Mhm.
They see when a link goes down, it gets saturated, or insert in management system here. To be able to say, my end users are having a negative experience.
Well, definitely built
So,
into
performance
Collaboration
monitor.
Manager, all this stuff. Huh?
Performance monitor, right?
Performance Monitor.
So all the
Yeah.
metrics that you get, the performance monitor metrics that you
Okay.
get, you can export those using flexible NetFlow
Yeah.
export.
Okay.
V9 export, and then the SolarWinds or ActionPact or
Mhm.
LandCopes of the world.
We actually did a really nice demo with Action Packed.
Yeah, yeah.
So we can show that.
Is this
We can do
getting
that.
rolled into any other analytics solutions, or is this standalone?
Well, this is like
I mean, the
brand new-
metadata is also the same thing with the security group tag. Is that what you mean? Like,
In
or-
general, you'll have lots of software platforms. Are these talking to each other and creating something more than just this?
across
That's a lot of
platform.
data, yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, you could have it on the 3K or the 4K, going up to the distribution on the 6K.
Sorry, I meant software. One other quick question. So, are you leveraging any in-bar application awareness, or is it ABS, I think?
not
actually leveraging
currently,
that?
at least not on the 6500, but because we're bringing MBAR to the ASA service module, because deep packet inspection is a whole nother beast
Sure.
by itself,
But it
right?
could fit in-
But
Yeah.
that is
Yeah,
sort of
good
the
tag.
future vision of it, actually, is to do deep packet inspection. That even goes to what you're saying. How do I really drill down? Today, it would be the device comes in, he either speaks MSI or we've defined some sort of profile for him, and then I just apply an appropriate profile for them.
Well, the classification's always, I mean, that's the problem with the edge we have today is classification.
Well, this, I mean,
So
that,
one
that's
thing-
my point here. Is these should be able to speak on their own
Yeah,
behalf,
and then
right? And then the
can
only
also-
config would be here.
you can also complement the solution. So if you have, like at the WAN edge, you have nbar 2 running, and you could figure out that, okay, this is a YouTube video,
Right.
right? You could,
Skype or something.
you know, we can take a look at taking that information, putting in the metadata so that everything across knows that this is happening.
And then inside of the core, it's just metadata.
Yeah.
Okay.